All right, today we are diving deep into one of the biggest, most ambitious ideas in all of neuroscience, the free energy principle. Some people are calling it a potential master algorithm for the brain, a single rule that could, maybe, explain everything. Yeah, you heard that right. Let's see what that's all about. But first, I've got a question for you. What do you think your brain's single most important job really is? Is it thinking? Feeling? Controlling your body? Well, the answer might be a lot simpler and way more fundamental than you think. To get to that answer, we've got to start with a huge shift in how we think about the brain. See, it's not just a passive lump of tissue that sits there waiting for information to come in. No, you should think of your brain as a tireless fortune teller. This quote really nails it. Your brain isn't just passively seeing or hearing things. It's constantly, actively making its best guess about what's causing those sensations. Every single moment of your life, it's running these little simulations, asking itself, okay, based on everything I've ever learned, what's probably going to happen next? And here's the real kicker. What happens when those guesses are wrong? Well, your brain absolutely hates it. It gets really uncomfortable when its predictions don't line up with what's actually happening. That mismatch is a fundamental problem that your entire brain is designed to solve. So this sets up the central conflict, right? Your brain desperately wants to predict the world perfectly, but the world is, messy. It's unpredictable. This puts the brain in a constant battle against what neuroscientists have a special name for: surprise. Now, let's be clear. When we say surprise here, we're not talking about a surprise party. It's a technical term. It really just means a prediction error. You know that feeling when you go to pick up a coffee mug you think is full, but it's empty, and your arm flies up? That's it. That's the feeling. That gap between what you expected and what you got, that's the error signal. And this matters a lot for a very basic reason: survival. Living things need stability. We thrive in predictable environments. A fish expects water, right? We expect gravity to work. Surprise means your model of the world just broke, and being wrong can be really dangerous. It also forces your brain to burn a ton of energy to update its model, and from an evolutionary standpoint, that's just not efficient. So, if surprise is the big problem, what's the solution? Well, this is where the hero of our story comes in: the free energy principle. It suggests that the brain has one single, incredibly elegant operating instruction to solve this problem. Okay, let's stop for a second and be super clear about this term. This is not free energy like in physics or thermodynamics. Don't even think about that. In this theory, free energy is basically the brain's internal scoreboard for how surprised it is. It's a number it can calculate that represents the amount of prediction error it's experiencing at any given moment. And this, right here, is the core of the whole idea, the big takeaway. If free energy is just a number that stands for surprise, then your brain's number one job, its prime directive, is to do whatever it can to keep that number as low as possible. At the end of the day, everything the brain does is about minimizing surprise. So how does it do that? Well, it's caught in this constant, beautiful feedback loop. First, your brain generates a prediction, a model of what it thinks is going on. Then, it uses your senses to check in with the real world. Step 3, it compares reality to its prediction and calculates the error, the free energy. And then, here's the magic part. It uses that error to update its model so that next time, it can make a better, more accurate prediction. It's just a cycle: predict, sense, update, and repeat. Forever. Okay, so the goal is to minimize surprise. Simple enough, but how exactly does the brain pull this off in the real world? Well, the theory says it has two major tools in its toolbox: perception and action. And this is where things get really cool. When your brain gets surprised, it has two choices. The first path is perception. It can change its mind. It can basically say, whoops, my guess was wrong. I need to update my internal beliefs to match the world. The second path is action. Instead of changing its mind, it changes the world to make its prediction come true. Let's make this super concrete. Imagine you're walking downstairs in the dark. You predict there's one more step, but your foot just keeps going down. That jolt of panic, that's a massive prediction error. So you have two ways to fix it. Perception: you instantly update your model and realize, oh, the ground is flat here, I'm at the bottom. Or you could use action. You could literally move your foot around, searching for that step your brain insists should be there, trying to make the world match your original prediction. We do both of these things all the time without even thinking about it. So you might be thinking, okay, that's a neat idea for how we walk or see things, but how far does this idea really go? Well, this is where it gets really mind-bending. The free energy principle isn't just about simple stuff. Its supporters believe it could be a unifying theory for almost everything the brain does. I mean, the scope here is just staggering. This one single rule, minimize surprise, is being proposed as the fundamental reason for everything. From the way individual neurons fire, to how we learn and pay attention, how we perceive reality, how we decide to do things, all the way up to the biggest mystery of all, maybe, just maybe, consciousness itself. It's an attempt to find the one simple idea that organizes all of it. And check out this quote from Carl Friston, the neuroscientist who developed the theory. It shows that the ambition is even bigger than just the brain. He's saying that any system that manages to stay organized in a chaotic universe, whether it's a single cell, a brain, or even an ecosystem, it has to follow this basic rule. It has to act in ways that minimize its own surprise to simply keep existing. And so that's the profound question I want to leave you with. We look at the unbelievable complexity of human life, of art, of love, of science. Could all of that, everything that makes you you, really just emerge from one simple ancient drive to not be surprised? It's a lot to think about. Thanks for digging into this with me.